Hello friends, this is a true story. Jonathan Stiles stood at the edge of the sprawling cemetery, his polished shoes crunching softly against the frost-hardened gravel. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and winter decay, and a thin, grey fog clung stubbornly to the gravestones like a veil. Today was supposed to be just another formal occasion, a ceremonial nod to a man who had commanded respect and fear in equal measure, his father, Edward Stiles. But standing there alone, Jonathan felt none of the triumphs, none of the pride that usually accompanied his name. Only emptiness. He looked down at the smooth, black marble gravestone, engraved in bold, commanding letters, Edward Stiles, visionary. Leader. Father. The words felt hollow. For all the power, influence, and wealth Edward had amassed, Jonathan realized with an uncomfortable pang that he had never really known his father. And now, facing the cold reality of mortality, he wondered if he had ever even truly known himself. The cemetery was quiet. The occasional crow called in the distance, flapping its dark wings against the dim, overcast sky. Jonathan's thoughts wandered to his father's final days, the hurried meetings, the secretive phone calls, the faint shadow of guilt Edward had never shared. He had expected clarity, perhaps even closure, in this moment. Instead, he felt a gnawing sense of disconnection, as if the life he had inherited was not truly his own. Then, something unusual caught his eye. Movement at the far edge of the cemetery, near a row of ancient oaks, where the mist thickened and the gravestones leaned at odd angles. At first, he thought it might be a stray animal, a fox or a raccoon scavenging in the cold. But as the figures emerged from the fog, his eyes widened. Two young girls, perhaps no older than 12, were slowly making their way toward him. Their clothes were ragged, frayed at the edges, and patched in several places. Their shoes were too small, worn down to reveal toes that peeped from the holes. Yet despite their obvious hardships, there was something striking about them. Their hair, long and golden, fell in perfect symmetry around their shoulders, their eyes, wide and unusually bright, met his with a gaze that was neither timid nor frightened. Jonathan felt a twinge of irritation. Who were these children? Why were they here, wandering among the graves on a morning so cold it made even the hardiest mourner shiver? He opened his mouth to call out, but the words caught in his throat. There was an unusual stillness about them, a quiet confidence, as if they belonged there for a reason he couldn't yet understand. The girls stopped several feet away, bowing slightly. It was a gesture of respect, intentional and deliberate. The taller one, perhaps only a few months older than her sister, spoke first. Her voice was soft but startlingly clear, cutting through the silence like a bell. "Sir, we've come to tell you something. Something your father wanted you to know." Jonathan's heart skipped a beat. His first reaction was disbelief, followed quickly by a rising suspicion. "My father wanted me to know something. You're joking, right?" His voice sounded harsher than he intended, tinged with the bitterness of years spent chasing approval he never received. The girls exchanged a glance, their expressions unflinching. There was no hint of humor in their eyes. One of them reached into the pocket of her threadbare coat and pulled out a small, crumpled envelope. "He asked us to give this to you if we ever found you," she said. Jonathan took a step closer, squinting at them in disbelief. How could these children, homeless, unknown to him, appearing out of nowhere, have any connection to the father he had thought he knew? The wind picked up, scattering a few dry leaves across the ground, and for a moment the three of them were the only living things in the cemetery, suspended in a space that felt both surreal and sacred. Jonathan's mind raced, flipping through memories of his father, the cold efficiency in his boardroom decisions, the endless secrecy, the sense that there were entire worlds Edward had never shared with anyone, not even his own son. Could it be possible that these girls, standing there with dirt on their shoes and courage in their eyes, were a part of that hidden world? Jonathan knelt down slightly, eye level with the taller girl. Why now? Why here? The girl's eyes softened, and she smiled faintly, a gesture far too mature for someone so young, yet disarmingly genuine. Because this is where he wanted you to be. And because it was time for you to know the truth. For the first time in years, Jonathan felt a stirring of something he hadn't felt in a long time, curiosity, mixed with fear, guilt, and anticipation. The ordinary rules of his world, the rules of power, money, and influence, suddenly seemed irrelevant. Here, in the cold mist of the cemetery, two unknown girls held a secret that could change everything. And for the first time, Jonathan realized that the life he thought he had inherited might be nothing compared to the life he was about to discover. This expanded part 1 is now richly det. Jonathan's hands shook as he took the crumpled envelope from the taller girl. The paper was worn and slightly damp, but the handwriting was unmistakable, his father's precise, meticulous script, each letter deliberate, almost commanding. He hesitated before opening it, the weight of the moment pressing down like a physical force. Around him, the cemetery remained quiet, the fog swirling softly around the gravestones as if holding its breath. He unfolded the letter and began to read. The words hit him like a punch he hadn't seen coming. Jonathan, you never knew about your twin daughters. Life circumstances forced me to hide them, but they are your blood. Find them. Love them. Protect them. The paper trembled in his hands. He read the lines again, certain he must have misread something, certain this was some cruel joke or mistake. Twin daughters. Hidden from him all these years. And these girls, standing right in front of him, were they the ones his father had written about? His mind raced. 1,000 questions crashed at once. Why? Why hide them? Why never tell him? How had they survived? The taller girl, sensing his confusion, stepped closer. Sir, she said, her voice soft but steady, we've always known who you are. We've been waiting for the right